You will not believe how season 1 could have went if instead of Eris, Sylphy was teleported alongside Rudeus to the Demon Continent. After Mushoku Tensei's season 1 ended, we didn't get information on where Sylphy went or if she was even alive. But in the trailer for season 2, there was a small scene where we see her teleported to some garden. Now let's assume we're back in season 1. Rudeus sees the big light engulfing everything. He can't get away because it's too quick. And the next thing he sees when he wakes up is Sylphy, and that they've been teleported to the Demon Continent. More specifically, the Biegor region, which is in the north of the Demon Continent, somewhere over here. If you're interested in the world of Mushoku Tensei and would like to know about the different parts of the world, then do check out my world map video, because the author has made a lot of effort creating different regions that have their own unique history. So anyway, Rudeus happened to find and shelter both of them, because he will do anything to protect children. That's the kind of person he is. Rudeus sees Rudeus but realizes that he's an ally, whereas Sylphy sees Rudeus and has a panic attack because she's only ever heard of horror stories about spurts like they'll come eat you. Rudeus manages to calm her down and make her believe that Rudeus is actually a good guy, and also the fact that he saved them, so we don't need to be afraid of him. After this whole weird encounter, Rudeus and Sylphy have a chance to talk to each other after years of being apart and catch up on everything that's happened. Rudeus tells her that he was earning money as a tutor so that he can get both of them into the Renoa Magic Academy. Sylphy falls in love even harder. Rudeus asks where they're from, and they both reply from the Fitua region in the central continent. Rudeus promises to take them home safely. Sylphy, who has green hair, feels that there's a connection between her and Rudeus that helps her to feel a bit more closer to him. It's also the first time that she's seen someone other than herself have green hair. Later on, all three of them travel to the Migurd village. Rudeus gets to meet Roxy's parents, and nothing different happens here. They then go to the town of Rikarisu, sign up as adventurers in the Adventurers Guild, and the young adventuring boys don't get beat up this time because Sylphy is not violent like Eris, which is funny. We move forward to the Red Hood Cobra fight. This is an A rank monster. It's enormous. The monsters in the Demon Continent are stronger than any other continent in the world of Mushoku Tensei because the Demon Continent has a higher concentration of mana in the environment. The monsters are smart enough to think of a counter or dodge an attack that they've seen for the second time, and this snake is no exception. It's got tough skills that are fire magic resistant and venomous fangs. In this fight, Sylphy uses attack magic that she's been practicing with Rudeus to damage and distract the snake, but mostly Rudeus and Rudeus finish it off. After several months, they make their way to the port town. Rudeus gets told by Hitogami to buy a huge amount of food and make his way to a narrow street to encounter Kirishika, the demon princess. Sylphy stays with Rudeus to train. She's been getting better at how to fight opponents who use weapons and move very fast. Roxy sees Sylphy, but she doesn't recognize her or Rudeus and runs away when spotted. Like in the anime, she narrowly misses Rudeus. The next important event is when they cross and arrive in the Melis continent. Sylphy doesn't get seasick and this time goes along with Rudeus to pick up Rudeus. They see that the beast children are getting kidnapped and trafficked, and once they meet Rudeus, they work together to save the kids. Rudeus along with Sylphy go back and run into the sacred beast of the Doldia tribe. This time as well, Rudeus starts cuddling with the beast, but gets caught by Geese and his father. But since Sylphy is there, they manage to convince that they're not actually kidnappers. It works because Sylphy backs up Rudeus, saying that his face just looks perverted, but on the inside he's a good guy. They then meet Rudeus, get reunited with the kids, and then make their way to the Doldia village, where the villagers plan to thank their saviors. Gallus, the North Saint, secretly follows them to find the Doldia village. He gathers his criminal allies and plans to kidnap all the children in the village. This time, it's Gallus versus Rudeus, Sylphy, and Rudeus. Unlike the first time where Rudeus was doing most of the fighting. Now Rudeus will only back up Rudeus, who easily finishes off Gallus with little to no effort. Next, they make their way to the Melis capital city, where they meet Paul. Paul recognizes Sylphy, but is angry that none of them saw the message about their family missing. but mostly angry at Rudeus because Paul is a gentleman. Same events happen, Paul and Rudeus have a fight, but then they rekindle their relationship. The whole story in the Shirone kingdom, which is inside the Dragon King realm, would not change except a few dialogues, because Eris didn't have much input there. As they travel across the Red Worm mountain range, they meet Orsted. This is where Turning Point 2 happens. No change happens here, to be honest. They finally reach their home, the Bunea village, but it's no more village, just a ruin. They visit various places where they played, their homes, and feel empty inside because now there's nothing there. They have a sad farewell with Rudeus, and the spurred warrior leaves. Sylphy asks, where do we go from here? Rudeus suggests going to Roa because it's a bigger city. They arrive in Roa and find the refugee camp where they meet Ghislaine. Ghislaine is sad to know that Eris isn't with Rudeus. Rudeus promises to find Eris alongside Zenith and Sylphy's parents. He and Sylphy stay at the refugee camp for a few days before deciding to search the north of the central continent because they've already covered the Demon and the Melis continent and couldn't find anyone that was missing. And this is where season 1 ends. Let me know what you thought about this what if story, and if you agree or disagree with the points that I've mentioned.